In the depths of human psychology lies a weapon so potent it can break the strongest minds: silence. Not the peaceful quiet of meditation, but the calculated absence of response that leaves others drowning in their own thoughts. Your greatest power isn't in what you say, it's in what you deliberately withhold. When someone throws emotional chaos at you, meet it with the void. Watch as they frantically try to fill the silence you've created. This is how you master the art of psychological control without speaking a single word. The ancient Stoics understood this principle intimately. Epictetus taught that every time you speak, you sacrifice an opportunity to listen, to observe, to gain power. But most crucially, you reveal your position to your adversaries. Think of silence as a black hole in social dynamics. It creates a vacuum that others feel compelled to fill. Their words, their justifications, their emotional outbursts. All of these become weapons they hand to you willingly. I've watched countless strong individuals break under the weight of calculated silence in negotiations, in confrontations, in moments of emotional manipulation. The one who speaks first loses. The one who explains surrenders. There's a dark truth about human nature. We fear silence more than we fear words. When met with silence, people will reveal their deepest insecurities, their hidden motives, their desperate needs. This is why interrogators don't torture with noise. They torture with quiet. Your mind becomes your own worst enemy. But wielding silence requires precision. Like a surgeon's scalpel, its power lies in the exactness of its application. Choose your moments of silence carefully. When others raise their voice, lower yours to a whisper, then to nothing. When they demand answers, give them the gift of void. Remember, silence is not passive. It's an active force, a conscious choice to withhold the comfort of response. In ancient Sparta, they understood this. Young warriors were trained not just in combat, but in the art of remaining silent under extreme pressure. Here are the 3 rules of calculated silence. First, never explain yourself unless explanation brings you power. Your actions and choices need no defense. Second, when provoked, extend the pause. Count 3 full breaths before considering a response. In that space, you gain clarity while they lose composure. Third, master the art of the incomplete response. Leave sentences unfinished. Let implications hang in the air. The human mind rushes to complete patterns. Let them complete yours with their own fears. But beware, like any powerful tool, silence can turn against its wielder. Use it too often, and you become predictable. Deploy it without purpose, and you appear weak rather than strategic. The true master of silence knows when to break it. They understand that a perfectly timed word after a long silence strikes with the force of thunder. It's not about being silent. It's about controlling the rhythm of silence and sound to bend reality to your will. In the end, remember this: words are common, silence is rare. In a world drowning in noise, the one who masters silence holds the power to make others listen, to make them doubt, to make them reveal their truths in their desperate attempt to fill the void you've created. This is the ancient power of calculated silence. Use it wisely, for once mastered, it cannot be unlearned. Rome, there lived a slave who would become more powerful than emperors, not through weapons or wealth, but through his mastery of silence. Epictetus knew a truth that most will never grasp. Silence is not the absence of power, but its purest form. Your words are seeds you can never take back. Once planted, they grow beyond your control. But your silence? That's a weapon that strikes deeper than any blade. The ancient Stoics knew this. They practiced strategic silence not as weakness, but as supreme strength. When others desperately fill the air with empty words, your calculated silence makes them reveal their deepest fears. Consider the average person's relationship with silence. They fear it. They run from it. They fill every moment with noise, with chatter, with desperate attempts to be heard. But true power lies in the spaces between words. The Stoics understood 3 levels of silence, each more potent than the last. First, reactive silence. When provoked, the untrained mind rushes to defend itself. But the wise know that attacks often collapse under their own weight when met with the wall of silence. Your opponent throws words into a void, each echo exposing their own insecurities. Second, strategic silence. This is silence with intent. You speak not because you need to, but because you choose to. Every word becomes a calculated move on the chessboard of human interaction. You learn to let others fill the void, watching as they expose their hand. Most people speak from emotional weakness. They talk to feel alive, to feel heard, to feel important. But the true master of silence speaks from a position of pure strength. They understand that every word withheld is power retained. Every silence maintained is leverage gained. This is how you become unreadable, unpredictable, unstoppable. Third, transcendent silence. This is the rarest form, the silence that comes from complete inner sovereignty. When you no longer need external validation, when your sense of self is unshakable, silence becomes your natural state. Words become tools you use sparingly, with surgical precision. But mastering silence requires confronting uncomfortable truths. Your need to be understood is a weakness. Your desire to explain yourself is a chain. Your impulse to fill silence is fear in disguise. The path to this power is simple, but far from easy. Start with 1 hour of complete silence daily. No phone, no music, no distractions. In conversations, practice waiting 5 seconds before responding. When accused or attacked, resist the urge to defend immediately. Learn to be comfortable being misunderstood. Remember, every time you break silence, you lose a small piece of power. Every time you maintain it, you gain strength that compounds. Epictetus rose from slavery to become one of history's greatest philosophers, not through endless talking, but through his mastery of silence. He understood that true power doesn't announce itself. It remains silent until the perfect moment. The choice is yours. Will you continue to scatter your power through needless words? Or will you begin the ancient practice of calculated silence, building power that few will understand, but all will feel? Your silence is waiting, and in that silence lies a power that has toppled empire. Emperor Nero, a peculiar figure, emerged, not through his actions, but through his masterful use of silence. Gaius Calpurnius Piso, a Roman senator, understood what few ever grasp. Silence is not the absence of power, but power itself. Your enemies want you to speak. Your rivals want you to explain. Your critics want you to defend yourself. But silence drives them mad. It makes them question everything. While they waste energy constructing narratives about your motives, you conserve yours for the perfect moment to strike. This is the ancient art of calculated silence. The Stoics knew this truth intimately. When Marcus Aurelius wrote about self-control, he wasn't just talking about controlling actions. He meant controlling the primal urge to fill every moment with words. This urge, this desperate need to speak, betrays our deepest insecurities. Think of silence as a blade. Most wield it clumsily, letting it cut into their own resolve. They break the silence out of discomfort, out of fear, out of the mistaken belief that words will save them. But the masters? They sharpen their silence until it cuts through deception like a razor. Watch closely when someone accuses you. Your first instinct will be to defend yourself, to explain, to prove them wrong. This is weakness disguised as strength. The true power move? Let their accusations hang in the air, unanswered. Let them drown in the weight of their own words. Your silence becomes their prison. Consider the interrogation rooms of ancient Rome. The most dangerous prisoners weren't the ones who screamed their innocence or begged for mercy. No, it was the ones who sat in complete silence, wearing a slight smile that truly terrified their interrogators. They understood that silence creates a void that others will desperately try to fill. But this isn't just about power games. Calculated silence serves a deeper purpose in the pursuit of wisdom. When you eliminate the constant noise of justification and explanation, you create space for genuine self-reflection. The Stoics called this inner citadel, a fortress of calm deliberation. Here are the 3 levels of mastering silence. First, the defensive silence. When provoked, attacked, or questioned, you maintain your composure through silence. This is the foundational level. Second, the strategic silence. You deliberately create gaps in conversation, forcing others to reveal their hands. You understand that every word someone speaks is a potential weapon you can use later. Third, the philosophical silence. You reach a state where silence becomes your natural state, and speaking becomes a conscious, calculated choice rather than an impulsive reaction. Remember, words are like coins. The more you spend them, the less valuable they become. Every time you resist the urge to speak unnecessarily, you invest in your power. Every silence you maintain builds your reputation as someone who cannot be easily manipulated or provoked. In your darkest moments, when chaos swirls around you and everyone demands answers, explanations, and promises, remember Piso. Remember that your silence can be more powerful than 1,000 well-crafted arguments. Let others exhaust themselves with words while you conserve your energy for the moments that truly matter. This is not just strategy. This is not just philosophy. This is the ancient art of psychological warfare, refined through centuries of Stoic practice. Master it, and you master the game of power itself. The next time someone tries to bait you into speaking, smile internally. They've just revealed their weakness, the need for your words. Your silence is your strength. Your restraint is your weapon. Your patience is your victory.